All right, how's it going out there? I'm Mike Brightman with Brightman Designs. We offer design, drafting, visualization, and workflow training services. Just about everything we do revolves around SketchUp Pro, Layout, Lumion, and our Condoc tools. And today we're talking with John Brock about Estimator.
Hello.
So everything we do, it all goes into this one workflow. Involves organizing our models, creating construction documents, visualizations, renderings, animations, all that stuff. John's specialty is estimating, and it just so happens that Estimator works extremely well with our Condoc system and the way that we put those models together.
Yes, sir.
So, John, can you tell us a little bit about Estimator?
Yeah. Well, I'm a custom home builder, and I needed an estimating solution for my models that I would build. So, I could do a pretty roof, and I could paint it with a nice shingle texture, but how many squares of shingles is it? Mm-hmm. So I sort of scoured the globe looking for a solution and couldn't find one, and ultimately decided to hire a developer and create it.
Nice.
So we have Estimator for SketchUp now, and so the whole thing is that it's completely inside of the SketchUp file. Mm-hmm. Everything lives within that model, so you don't have to go export anything out to tweak it in Excel or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You can estimate everything. There's 4 different ways, basically. There's components, there's layers, like attributes of length and area and volume. There's materials, so if you assign a texture to something, it's like an area tool, so it's going to read that amount of area there. Mm-hmm. And then there's quotes. So those quotes are for intangible things like labor or general conditions, things that you can't model or don't need to model.
Nice.
And then you can run a branded report, custom report, that looks nice, and you can share it with your clients and that sort of thing.
Nice.
You can add your quotes and add your margin in there. So
cool.
All in one.
So basically, I'm understanding that everything you do, you're assigning to either materials, entity, objects like components or layers, and really anything can be priced, whether it is the object, a square footage, a volume. And then furthermore, you can add quotes so that way you can attribute things like labor or just costs that just don't really show up in the model.
And you can also add as many associated costs with anything. So for instance, if you had like tile, for instance, you could use the square footage for the labor. And then you could add another cost and use the square footage for the material.
Nice.
And add another cost, so using the square footage for the underlayment.
Sweet.
So you can use any attribute that you want as many times over for that given material or layer or component, for that matter. And components could be nested. It can be a component inside of a component. And if there's multiple components that you select, they'll show up in a Dropbox.
Gotcha.
So you just pick each one, add its price, pick the next one, and you're good.
Nice. And so it's my understanding, too, that you can take the estimating as loosely or as meticulously detailed as possible.
Correct.
So I've seen some example files that you've worked on where there's these really impressive models of big custom homes.
That house up there.
Yeah, just like the framing and every stud, and I think you were even talking about like estimating down to the the boxes of nails that were going into this house.
Sure.
And that's amazing. But tell me, what is Estimator best suited for, or what are the project types that we can estimate?
Right, you can estimate anything with Estimator. It doesn't matter what the model is, what your project is. It's basically, it could be a small remodel project if you're a builder, or a remodel. It could be a whole entire house. It could be a car. It could be any project that you're working on that you want to report quantities for.
Nice.
So you could report quantities without adding a dollar amount if you want to, and just get a general list. Because if in SketchUp's general reporting, if you had 87 items, you're going to see 87 line items of one each, and at least Estimator will group those, and you'll just see a one line item of 87 each.
Nice.
So just having that ability alone is a great reporting tool for as inexpensive as this plugin is.
Nice.
But it can handle any size project of any magnitude.
So it could be like this 5,000 square foot custom home, or we could even go down to a simple bathroom.
Exactly.
Very, very simple. So yeah, that's what I'm really coming to understand, is that I've seen some of these presentations, and I've seen John take it all the way, and then we're going to take a look today at backing it up and just showing how quick and easy you can get something put together, create your custom report, custom quote. So we're going to price some things out. You mentioned that we can price via materials and by component or object, and also by length or layer. Okay, cool. So let's see. And then I want to make one other point too, is that we are, John is a custom home builder, And my background's in architecture, and we always talk about the built environment. But the truth is that Estimator will estimate anything. So if you're interior designer, architect, absolutely, and that's kind of the workflow we're looking at. But if you're an event planner, a lighting designer, a landscape, I mean, if you just need to count plants and just select it and kick out a report and put pricing, and I mean, it's really impressive what you can do and how many different industries Estimator touches. So as we're going through this, think about how this can reach out to estimating and counting beans in any other industry too.
Sure.
Pretty cool. All right, so let's hop into SketchUp here, and so let's just take a look and set up the project. This project, I think this showed up in my book in SketchUp Workflow for Architecture. And so I use this as an example file, and this is actually a remodel I did on my house. So this is a pretty simple bathroom, and what we're doing in here is adding in a new vanity, a new toilet, some new equipment, bath towel holder and toilet paper holder. And so we're going to go through here, and we're going to kind of price out this model. And this is all set up using the Condoc system. So essentially, we started with our Condoc layers. So you can see that our walls are broken out like this onto our walls layer. And then we've got our ceiling. You can see design ceilings. And we've got ceiling equipment. And as with any of these models, it's really easy to hide things, get around, and take a look through the model. So keep in mind that everything we're looking at, it all ties into Condoc, and that's how we build our models. So let's get started here. Where's the best place? I'm going to open up Estimator.
Sure.
And let's just take a look here at some of the tabs. So I guess the first rip at it is we've got components, layers, materials, quotes, and reports.
Right.
Tell me about components.
Well, let's first of all go to reports.
Okay.
Because I want to show you how you can put in your project information.
Okay.
So in this case, this is customized for each file, so you can put your project name in here. There's a settings feature that allows you to put your company information, which is global, your company logo and that sort of thing. But what he's filling out now is the job information that's job specific for this particular SketchUp file. And so in this settings, he's got his company name, company logo. So when you run a report, everything shows up nice and neat. So so you've got that in there. Once you've got your information in there, you just save your changes.
All right, so we're looking good. We won't do any other info.
Right, so
save those changes.
Hit your report, your settings.
Well, yeah, let's look at our settings here.
And you can change the currency formatting if you want euros or whatever currency symbol that you want. And here's company information, and you can actually upload your logo.
Cool.
So then if you cut out of there and go ahead and run a report real quick.
Okay.
Hit the HTML report. Now you can also go to a CSV file if you'd like and take it into Excel if you need to, but otherwise you have a nice branded report that you can print out or save as a PDF. And that's the basic information in there, and everything else will start populating. And
nice.
What it does is it will show whatever's in the current SketchUp selection. It's not going to be this total every time because you want to be looking at, maybe you're analyzing one particular part of it. And
cool.
That's why it's going to only show you what you've selected in your current selection. So
nice. All right.
Cool.
Well,
so components.
Yeah.
Components would be in this model. I see you've got a toilet, you've got a toilet paper holder, a doorknob and a door, this vanity, the faucet, you've got a mirror unit, you've got now floor coverings. That would be all components. And then this door, for instance, is a door with a doorknob, and that's nested components. So you could actually assign a price to that door and a price to the lock set separately. Or you can combine them if you just want to get a general number. That's what I'm saying. It's as detailed as you want to make it.
Nice.
So that's components.
Let's just add a price to a toilet.
Sure. Pick a toilet.
So what do? I click here.
And you'll see in a drop down. What happens is you've grouped a bunch of things here. So when you've grouped more than one item, you're now going to see that entire list. So you use the drop down. So you've chosen the toilet. Now, the first thing I do is go to cost codes. Now, cost codes in Estimator come preloaded with NAHB's, National Association of Home Builders, cost codes. You can wipe that out and put your custom cost codes in there. You could simplify things. I just gave you something to start with. And it starts auto-populating, so you don't have to remember that lengthy code number. And you may come in here and say plumbing fixtures, because it's a toilet.
Cool.
And then you'd put a description as maybe it's a Toto toilet or whatever your description is going to be.
Okay.
You could choose your vendor. If vendor is another customized file that you can have. and I simply exported my vendor list from QuickBooks and brought it in to that particular CSV file. Then if it's Acme Supply, I just start typing in Acme and boom, and there it is. But you don't have to use that. The attribute, in this case, it's a quantity, it's an entity. You could, if that was a slab, for instance, you might choose the cubic yardage of that or the square footage of that. In this case, we'll keep the quantity. The multiplier is how to convert, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Cool.
So let's say that toilet is, I don't know, $150.
Cool.
And then you can start typing in the units displayed. Start typing in each, and you'll notice I've got another customized displayed units displayed. It's just a time saver.
Nice.
All right. And then if you wanted to put labor, you could. If you wanted to put any waste, you could, but we wouldn't have waste on the toilet. And a sales tax, if you needed to apply a sales tax.
Okay.
So in state of Virginia, I've got 5.3.
I think it's like 6 in Denver.
There you go. So then save the changes.
Okay.
And now you'll instantly see that's in there, including the tax.
Perfect.
So then you just simply go around and pick all your components, and you can assign costs to everything. So.
All right, so let me try here. So I'm going to go to here. We're going to go with our, let's see, we got a tub.
Yeah.
So we'll go there, select our tub. The cost code is going to be
plumbing fixtures. Again.
Plumbing fixtures. And we got fixtures. Description is going to be our bathtub. And then quantities 1, unit rate, we'll say $500.
Sounds good.
Something like that. Our tax is going to be 6%.
Put our units in there just to make the report look nice. There you go.
There we go.
Save changes.
Save changes. All right, so I think I'm getting the hang of that.
Yeah.
Let me go over here to our mirror. So again, I've got my component or my grouping selected, my conduct grouping. The selection then, it gets broken down in this drop down. So then any of the components that we can assign a price to are available in here. And for this one, I've called this vanity or
mirror unit.
Let's see what I call it. Mirror unit, that's right. Mirror unit. And then our cost code, again, we'll call it plumbing fixtures.
Yeah, keep it in one thing if you'd like.
Nice. And our unit rate, we'll call this $600. Something like that.
It's got a light built into it.
It's got a light built in.
I see that right
Stuff
up in
isn't
there.
cheap, man.
I'd put a description in there so you know what it is on your report.
Okay, and we're going to call this like IKEA vanity and mirror.
Well, your vanity's separate, so just make that your mirror.
Oh, I see. Okay. Mirror. Cool.
There you go.
All right. Very good.
And then you save changes. Always remember to hit the save changes.
Gotcha.
And you see how it's building as you go.
Perfect. Okay, so as I select this, and if I deselect it, see there's no pricing assigned to these walls, so it's only going to show me what's live.
Correct.
All right, let's move on to, should we do layers next?
Sure, layers is fine. All right, now in this model, the walls and the floors can be really done with materials. You know, if it was a slab, for instance, I would put that on a layer because dropping back to components for a second, when you assign a cost to a component, that cost lives with that component. So if you were to save that toilet in your library, reuse that toilet the next time, all that data is stored with it. So you don't have to, re-enter anything. But for a slab, for instance, if every house I do has a basement slab, so I just do that as a group, but I put it on a layer that's called basement slab. And so I have a template file that has pre-saved cost elements to it. And that one simple action of creating a slab and putting it on that layer, I automatically get all my costs associated with it.
Gotcha.
You could do it as a component, but that's a one-off.
Okay.
So that's where the layers really come in handy. So in this case, I see you got some casing and baseboard in there. So I have a tool that lets you collect links, and that's this takeoff length tool.
Okay.
And it has collections, and you can completely customize these collections. I just started out with some basic things, and you can tailor it to your situation. But so the current collection right now, you can click on that. You'll see that you've got a series of things in it, but you've chosen baseboard. So so you can see there's others. I would choose the picking.
Okay.
And then just hover over the baseboard, an edge of the baseboard that you can see.
Okay.
Any one of those will work. See, when you hovered over it, choose one from the top, perhaps, so you can see that it's turned there.
Oh, I gotcha.
Now click on that. See how it turned orange?
Okay, so I didn't actually grab that other one. Oh.
Yeah, you've done it twice, but we'll just.
Can I deselect it?
You can, and I've forgotten how you can. You actually edit the group, and you'll do that.
Okay.
We'll do that in a second. So click on the next one and see how it's growing the totals in there.
Perfect.
And then just select your next one. There you go.
Super easy.
Yeah, very easy. So you're just picking for edges, and that's it. So then just you hit escape on that, and you're good. Okay. So now you've got a total of 19 feet. And what that's done, if you have a way of looking at your layers,
Mm-hmm.
there was a layer that was just created called takeoff length underscore whatever the name of it is. So it creates that layer for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then if we go to Estimator and we select that layer,
Mm-hmm.
so we've got to be selecting that particular group. Sometimes it's hard to see that one if you see that you've got that on the baseboard is on a layer.
Oh, you know what? And I did not model this one perfectly just yet, so let's do that. I'm going to take these guys and organize them for our condoc system. So that's going to go into a group, and that is going to go onto the layer trim, like that. But your takeoff.
You see that? Like, double click on that group, or yeah, you got to put your floor somewhere.
Let's get our
too.
floors out of here.
Yeah, helps to clean these things up. Awesome. All right, so now what you're seeing here, you got a window?
Sorry. Can't stop.
Discipline modeling.
I can't help myself.
Now you see that's a group of these edges.
Mhm.
Now, you remember how you added that one, doubled it?
Yep.
Like, double click on there and edit that group. Now just delete one of your lines there.
Got it.
All right, cool. So now what we have is a total length of things. So let's go to Layers tab.
Mm-hmm.
You've select that again. It's not seeing it right now. Select that group. All right, now see this. You have the takeoff length in there. So let's go to cost code of trim.
Okay.
Interior. Let's see trim materials, for instance.
Trim.
Trim carpentry materials. Whatever you want to choose.
Gotcha.
Description would be baseboard.
Okay.
And an attribute we're going to use lineal feet.
So just feet.
Feet.
Gotcha.
So now, if you wanted to report this on a per foot basis and buy it that way, or let's say that you're buying it in 12-foot lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that we're doing it. This particular baseboard comes in 12-foot lengths.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use a multiplier of divide by 12.
Okay.
/12. And then a unit rate of, let's say a stick of baseboard is $12.
Okay.
It's $1 a foot. All right. Now, in this case, we're going to put each.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what I would do is I would add waste to that.
Okay.
I would add maybe 10% waste.
Okay.
You'll get to know your own sort of elements, but you don't want to figure it so tightly that if you got 12-foot piece here and a 12-foot piece here, and you need 3 more feet to do this one leg, you got to buy a whole 12-foot piece.
Measure once, cut twice.
Exactly. That's the old rule of thumb. So what it's doing is it's rounding up to the nearest piece. Okay. So let's save our changes.
Okay. Let's see. Save changes.
Right now, see how that it stuck 2 pieces in there, so $25 worth of baseboard.
Gotcha.
So you're seeing that. If you wanted to add additional costs, which if you wanted to add, say, you know how many nails it takes per foot of baseboard.
Yeah.
If you got that anal with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You could simply add an associated cost, but with that, we don't have to do that right now because we're not. So great. So we got our cost for baseboard in there. That's how layers works.
Okay.
Simple as that. So
Perfect.
You can close out of your takeoff length.
So let me try real quick, just to make sure I'm getting this. So what I would do then is I would go back here.
Let's do your casing.
Yeah, let's do our casing. So that's going to be trim interior casing. I go to picking, and I'll just kind of pick the longest
edge.
Yeah.
You got it.
Like that. And I'll click on this guy, and this guy.
And just hit your space bar.
And then go like that. And then I'm going to go back to my all off on my condoc tools. And let's see. It added my casing layer, so I can turn that on, select it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got it. And so my cost code is going to be trim. And we're going to do...
You're quick at this.
I'm getting there. Carpentry materials. We're going to go with feet.
Yep.
And is this going to come in the same...
Let's just say we're buying that per foot, and it's 60 cents per foot. You don't have to do anything.
So no multiplier.
Yeah, let's just put 60 cents, and then LF for lineal feet.
So
again, you can put any displayed units you want. I've got some pre-built in just as time savers.
Nice.
And maybe you definitely want to put your waste in there. Good
10%.
Your tax.
6. I don't think I did tax on the other one. That's okay.
You can always go back and edit it. So at any
Sweet.
time. Okay.
All right, so let's do that. I'll just click this on. I'm just curious to try it. All right, so then our tax, 6%. All right, save changes.
You need a job as an estimator?
No. Maybe.
You got it.
Maybe.
Cool.
I don't know nearly as much as you know about pricing these things. I make the pretty pictures.
There you go. Cool. Well,
let's see. So that save changes. I can go back to all on. Easy enough. Perfect.
Yeah, so that's basically how you would do layers.
Nice.
So the next tab is materials.
All
Again,
right, so
think of materials as an area tool. Right?
Cool.
But you got to be careful not to, if you had a wall and you painted all the textures all around the whole thing, you just quadrupled or doubled at least doubled your materials.
So we got to be real disciplined with if we're going to assign a cost to this material, which this material is called material 2. Can I change this to
Sure.
I'll call it PT01.
Whatever you want to call it. Man.
All right. So then, make sure that you don't paint the inside. I think I made up a different material. I called it inside face.
Yeah.
Just to be real sure that I wasn't painting things, because that way it'll keep my estimate really accurate and tight.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have paint 1, I need to select this wall to make it show up.
Correct. And now you're in Materials tab. And now you've got more. So you've got multiple things in there. So click on that. Now you should have your PTO1, and it's right on top.
Perfect. Okay. And then our cost code, can I just type in paint?
Paint.
Yep.
Interior paint.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Like that. And you don't have to do this. You don't have to assign a cost code.
You don't, but that's how your report's going to be generated. So it keeps it organized.
Yep.
Even if you wanted to do something basic, code 100 is this, code 200 is that.
Yeah.
Then your report's going to show nicely. Otherwise, it's just going to be alphabetical order.
So these are the NAHB cost codes. So let's say I'm an interior designer and I've got paint, flooring, tile, or just maybe 5 different things that I do on every job, fixtures. Maybe that would be the way, is just to make my own, wipe that thing out, and just have 5 different cost codes and make it really simple.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That's very easy. And until then, you don't have to really think. You just start guessing at what it might be,
and then
you'll
it
find
comes
a
up.
code that's close to it.
Perfect.
So now in this case, let's say that to show the additional or associated costs that you can add, let's do primer and do paint.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say we're buying some primer. So you could put
description
primer. Now let's use the attribute of square feet.
Okay. Square feet
squared.
Okay.
All right. Now let's use a multiplier. In this case, from what I've read before, that a primer covers about a gallon. A primer will cover 200 square feet.
Okay.
So let's put a divide by 200.
Divide by 200.
Right. And primers should be cheap enough, maybe 10 or 15 bucks a gallon. So let's put 10 bucks a gallon. I don't know how much primer is. And then in this case, GAL, it's not going to be one of those things that's in there, but you want to do something that makes sense to you.
Oops. Let's see. GAL.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to put waste in there, you can. In a case like this, you probably won't need it because in a small room like this, a gallon of paint goes a long way.
And how would you put labor here, or would you add labor as a quote later?
I would use labor as a quote.
Okay, you keep it off the object or the...
Because and that's the other thing. When you get a quote from your painter, it may be all turnkey. You wouldn't have to even do what you're doing here.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we'll go to the quotes tab and just simply add his quote
paint
for
is this.
$1,500 or whatever his quote is.
Got
but
it.
in this case, you may want to be purchasing it yourself. So you got some waste in there. You want some sales tax if you're going to the store and buying that.
Okay.
And then save the changes.
Okay. Save changes.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be a gallon of paint would be my guess.
Do we need to do anything down here?
No, we'll talk about that in a minute. So you see it was 1 gallon of paint.
Okay.
All right.
So now this is kind of on this one material, I've assigned, based on this material, it's pulling the square footage, so then I can add another piece to this.
So hit the plus button.
Okay.
What that's going to do, that's another cost that's associated with that material.
Okay.
And in this case, it's going to be our wall paint.
So we'll do paint interior. And we'll call this wall paint.
Sure.
And
same square feet.
So feet squared.
And I think it's you get more coverage because you've already primed the wall. So let's go 300 square feet of coverage.
So divided by 300.
It's all simple math. Simple formulas.
Okay.
Maybe it's 30 a gallon.
30 a gallon?
Yeah.
And our display units is GAL.
Yeah, and you want to be consistent with that look.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it's just, and if you don't put a displayed unit, the column won't show anything. So it's just, again, just to make it look clean.
Okay. 6% tax.
So that's probably going to be the same 1 gallon.
Cool.
So in this case, we have a gallon of primer, and if you can scroll back and forth between or toggle on those things, it's 1 gallon of primer at $10 and a gallon at the other for 30.
Okay, so it's saying 1 gallon at $10.60 and 1 gallon. Okay.
At $31.80, so your total's down here $42.40.
Okay, so what if I did something like, if I go into my walls and let me just do some weird change real quick. Scoot that out. Is that going to mess things up?
Nope, it's going to just add the paint.
Look at that.
It's real time.
2 gallons.
Yeah.
Still on 2 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, let me hit Control Z, and we're back to good.
Yeah, so
Select my walls.
what's happening is it's real-time reporting. So when you get into a large model, hit that gear icon. You can deselect real-time reporting if you wanted to
Perfect.
cut that off, and then close back out of that.
Okay.
Then when you assign costs to something, you just hit this refresh button down here, and that'll do it at the same time.
Got it. Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
only when you get into a larger, more complex model.
Yeah.
And Estimator is working real time, so it's crunching a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I only get slowed down when I'm on a real big, 100 megabyte file,
Mhm,
that sort of thing. So
Gotcha.
cool. So that's how materials work. So you would want to do that same thing for your floor,
Yeah.
your tile.
Let me give it a shot. All right, so I'll select my floors, design floors. That's set up. There's this tile 2.
Sure.
Cost code, is it tile?
Yep.
Look at that.
Sounds good to me.
Flooring.
Now in this case, let's do materials and labor separate.
Okay.
So
So we'll
you may
do
be buying it and then paying a guy to install it.
exactly. Okay, so our description is going to be bathroom floor tile.
Yeah.
This is going to be square feet.
Sure.
Multiplier.
Now, in this case, you're just going by square feet. So your
Yep.
multiplier stays ×1.
Got it.
Now, your floor tile, maybe it's $5 a square foot
Okay.
for a decent tile. Hopefully, it's a little less than that. But
Yeah.
whatever you picked out.
Yep.
And your units displayed. Again, you're going to have an auto pop up as soon as you do that S. There's the SF.
Square feet.
Cool. Now, I would definitely put waste in there because you buy it by the box basically. So they're going to have to round up to the nearest box. So you're going to find a waste factor that you're comfortable with. But I generally default at around 10%. But
Okay.
Maybe you go 10 or 15 or something like that just to play
About
it safe.
12.5.
There you
Just
go,
to
man.
test your
You are
decimals and make
testing it
sure.
away. All right.
All right, let's see. Okay, so now I'll save those. Now,
You want to add your tax.
tax, that's right,
Now
6.
save your changes. Now let's hit the plus.
Okay.
We're on that same material. Now let's do our tile labor.
Okay. So our cost code is going to be tile, and we're going to do floor labor.
And then
Description is going to be
tile labor.
tile labor.
Whatever makes sense to you.
Okay.
Attribute is square feet again.
Feet squared.
And I pay my guy about, let's say it's $4 a square foot.
$4 a square foot.
Yeah.
So we'll do SF.
If it was on a diagonal, he may be $4.50 or $5.
Sure.
So it's just you use your judgment on that.
So-
Now there's no waste. Well, you do the same waste because he's going to be going off of the total square footage. It just depends on your guy.
Yeah.
I like to fight with my guys every now and then, going, well, you're just going with the exact area. If there's 10 tiles left over,
That's not the
that's
deal.
not what
Yeah.
I'm paying you for. But it's whatever you're comfortable with.
Cool.
In your selections of it. Now you wouldn't have any tax on labor unless you do in your state.
So
I
like
don't.
10%.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I got you. No tax on labor.
Yeah. Save changes.
All right.
So now that entire floor costs $395.
Okay. So now, when I back out of here and look at this, so I'm only seeing the estimate of things that are selected.
Correct.
So if I select my walls, that is estimating my paint.
Well, let's do a status and see where you are today. Select everything in there. And then I'll hit a report.
Okay.
HTML report. There.
Look at
That's
that.
everything that you've selected so far.
So all just super quick.
In real time.
And
So
we
if you
hooked up our this stays with, once I fill this out, this is going to run every time.
Your logo and your company information, it's global when you store it in your global setting.
Nice.
This is all job specific. So
Nice.
the next job, that's going to be blank until you assign the cost.
Perfect.
Now, one thing that we'll talk about real quick while we're in here, is that let's close that out for a second. Let's go to quotes. Let's go to cost code of plumbing for the labor for the plumber, right? You got to pay him.
Yep.
So if you just start typing in plumbing in that cost code,
Now, quotes is the best way to put this is like if I had a kitchen that was going in here and I just got like a whole quote from a kitchen designer, they're gonna create it, install it, do their thing. That way, I don't have to go and tag each one of my little components.
I don't do that.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll use as a component. Like I may take the kitchen cabinets, group them make them a component, and then I'll assign the quote to that.
Yeah.
Or I can assign it here. So you really have two different ways of doing it.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So then quotes, cost code is
Plumbing. Then we'll see some labor in there somewhere. So you might want to or you can code it to plumbing general or however you want to do it. Just plumbing.
Plumbing.
I don't see one that's just labor. And let's description. You can say plumbing quote.
Plumbing quote. Okay.
And then you could put your vendor if you wanted to. Now, in this case, you can either do an amount or you can do a unit rate. If you're paying the guy per the hour, do unit rate. If you're paying him a lump sum, choose amount. And you can toggle back and forth between those. And then maybe it's $1,500 for him to do this bath. I'm throwing out numbers. I don't know what your numbers in Denver.
Sure.
And maybe each or per or whatever you want to put in there. Generic. Each sounds good.
Cool.
Save your changes. Now, you notice it's not showing up yet. Okay. The purpose of this bottom section down here is I don't want to skew my report or skew my. If I'm clicking on that wall and I wanted to see how much that wall costs, I don't care about the plumbing labor with that in that study at that point.
Got it.
So in theory, and then you would at the end of the job when you're ready for your total, you would check that box that says include quotes, and then you would now if you wanted to add your margin in there, let's say that you're getting a 20% margin on this project, or hopefully you're doing better if it's a remodel. So let's do 20. Well, there you go. That's my man. All right, now what you're seeing is if you ran that report, go to reports in the HTML report. Now you're going to see you've got your labor is going to have been put down in plumbing. So there's your plumbing quote right at the top. And then your margin's been implied in there, and there's your total cost.
Nice.
So you're ready to rock and roll with this project. If your client's going to see that, or you may not want them to see your margin, it depends on how you operate.
Nice.
But at least that's an in-house thing that you're using for your quote. So in real quick time, we had that thing pretty much.
And if I wanted this to go to the customer, I could just say uncheck include margin, and then run my report again.
Well, it's not going to. That's the direct costs on it. So that's really a personal preference of how you want to do that with your clients.
Got it. Okay. Sweet. So that is pretty slick. Hit print, run it. I can see the value in just tagging these things as you go, and then there's also templates you've set up where you can have materials with costs or associated.
What I would suggest is if you were doing, like if you're a remodeler and you're doing a bathroom project like this, to at least get started until you've built up a bigger project, like that huge house that you saw on my website, that had everything in it. So I saved that. I basically eliminated all the geometry in there. You got to remember to purge unused components.
Yes.
But do not purge unused globally.
Okay.
Because if you did that, you're wiping out your layers, and you're wiping out all of your materials that are in that model.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah. Gotcha.
See, because this
just
model,
on the template, though. Just on the template.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
I deleted every bit of geometry, and the file was still 70 megabytes. I was like, how is that possible? Well, components are still in that file. Even though they're deleted, they're still available to you in that file.
Gotcha.
So that's a SketchUp tip to to purge your unused components.
Gotcha.
Then I saved it as a template. So you may save this as a bathroom remodel.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a landscaping project or whatever else. Then these layers that we've already been putting in here and these materials, if you're using that same material the next time, you've already got your cost. Just the simple act of painting that wall, instantly you've got your gallons of paint.
Gotcha.
That same tile, if you were to use that tile in another room, that simple act of creating that face and painting it with that texture, you've instantly got your costs that are associated with that.
Okay.
The toilet, if you've saved that toilet and this other accessories, if you save those to your components library, you got your pricing.
Nice. Okay. Cool. All right. So then let's check out. Website is estimatorforsketchup.com. I think there's links on our event page here. Let's see. I don't know if we have a link up top. Something here. Yeah, it looks like we got something going on. So check out estimatorforsketchup.com. And there's a 14
trial.
Day,
there's a 14-day trial.
Yeah.
It's fully functioning. It's not a separate version. So you can try it out for 14 days. Takeoff length is free with the purchase of Estimator.
Nice.
It's available on the warehouse, Extension Warehouse, but it's also available on my store, which is the preferred, and then you can set up an account on our store and anything else associated with that. So you get takeoff length for free. I also have takeoff area, which is a useful tool, but you can do that natively inside of SketchUp. So that's a $25 additional plug-in if you're so desired. But $149, and after you've used it once or twice, it kind of pays for itself on the first job, in my opinion. But that's up to the holder.
No, I'm with you. I think I can see. I have limited knowledge of all the building costs, but like I could see myself easily just getting a ballpark on if you pick this tile, this is the implication you're going to have on this project. Or
Sure.
I can definitely see the
Or at the
value.
very least, you're providing somebody with quantities.
Yeah,
You know, that's
exactly.
a value add that you're providing to somebody
Yeah.
if you chose to do it. And you can put a disclaimer that, check it out, maybe double
Yeah,
check everything.
verify and field.
Verify and field, yeah.
Nice.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
Excellent. Well, that's perfect. Thanks, John, for coming in.
Thank you. Had a blast.
Absolutely.